Hey Metas, we've got a pretty big update preview here, so let's get into it. Since Oncehuman's launch, we've been closely monitoring your feedback on core aspects such as scenario pacing, character growth, and replayability. Oncehuman is an open-world survival and crafting game designed to allow players to experience its various scenarios without restrictions. To achieve this, we've introduced new features such as blueprint conversion, which is huge, love it, stellar stairway system, controversial, and the scenario exit function, which is good now that they're entering permanent servers. That's interesting. Hopefully they're getting into that, alongside extensive upgrades to the core gameplay experience. These updates aim to give you more freedom to engage with scenarios on your terms. In this article, we'll preview some of the changes and optimizations planned for March. We'd also love to hear your feedback on these updates, so let us know what you think. Share your thoughts by commenting on this article or via the CoDev feedback platform. Now, let's take a look at the upcoming changes. Number 1, permanent servers. Planned launch is pretty soon, that's March 13th. Currently, servers automatically close after the scenario settlement phase ends, following which your character will be transferred to Eternaland, where they can sign up for a new scenario and move. Regarding this, we've consistently received the following feedback. 1. Some players cannot experience all of a scenario's content due to its limited duration. And I get that. I mean, I'm a fairly casual player, and there's been a lot of times where we get to the end of the season and I'm still leveling. I barely get to, I feel this. Number 2. Returning players cannot resume their progress due to server closures. I get that too. Maybe you had some time, you went away, you come back, and now you have to re-level again. I can see why that would be frustrating. Number 3, some players prefer to continue playing the same scenario rather than starting a new one or returning to Eternaland. To allow you to experience scenarios at your own pace, we plan to introduce permanent servers on March 13th. Rules. Scenario servers will not close. When scenario ends after its settlement phase, the server will convert into a permanent server. This process takes about 2 hours, during which the server will be inaccessible. Once the conversion is complete, you can choose to remain on the server, return to Eternaland, or sign up for a new scenario. Okay, so that's a great answer to questions that I've had, this last line here. So you don't have to stay on the permanent server. You still, it sounds like, get to do the whole sign up for a new scenario thing as you've done in the past. And so that should allow you to keep, if you were one of those people who hates this idea of the permanent servers, you can keep doing the sign up and re-entering new servers. And so it sounds like it's a choice. You get both options. It should help to make everyone more happy. 2. Inactive characters cannot enter the permanent server. After the server converts to a permanent one, characters that have not logged into the scenario for an extended period will be returned to Eternaland. From there, they can sign up for a new scenario. The reason for this restriction is that transferring all characters to the permanent server would place a significant load on the server. To ensure a smooth experience for active users, characters inactive for 30 days or more will not be transferred to the permanent server. However, we plan to significantly ease this restriction in the next quarter to accommodate returning players. Number 3, servers will be merged after conversion to permanent status. Servers of the same scenario type and visual wheel status will be merged. Each server will be merged into a single world on the permanent server. After the merge, you can switch between worlds to interact with players from other servers. Subsequently, worlds with relatively low activity levels may be merged to ensure a good experience. Number 4, visual wheel updates for permanent servers. Permanent servers will be kept in their original state. Updates and changes that can only be applied to new servers will not affect permanent servers. These changes include major scenario changes, such as new regions, modifications to existing regions, or the addition removal of public crisis events. So yeah, that new major scenario changes such as, it sounds like, that makes sense. New memetics and changes to memetic specializations, changes to seasonal goals, seasonal challenges, map changes, new game modes based on seasonal phases. Interesting, because they said the lunar wheel stuff would be on a rotating thing for the permanent server, so that's interesting. And it sounds like there's going to be, because of these new updates, some incentive to keep moving on to new servers. So it sounds like there's going to be still some incentive for those that are unhappy with the permanent servers to keep moving. New content not exclusive to new servers will be applied to permanent servers, including construction optimizations, including new building materials and components, changes, optimizations, and additions to the ranching and farming systems, weapon balance adjustments, new cosmetics and events, bug fixes, and optimizations. In future updates, we will specifically indicate whether or not new content will be applied to permanent servers. Number 5, Visional Wheel updates for permanent servers. For servers with a Visional Wheel tag, the Visional Wheel theme will continue to cycle after conversion to a permanent server. Okay, so yeah. For example, the current Lunar Oracle theme ends, the next Visional Wheel theme will start on the permanent server. Development notes. As an optimization to the season system, permanent servers are intended to address gameplay pacing issues, enabling returning players, new players, and active players alike to play at their own pace. We are also aware that players want fresh content and non-repetitive gameplay. To meet this demand, we plan to introduce new scenarios, excellent, enhance scenario playability, and optimize resource allocation, self-hosted servers, and the Visional Wheel system. Next, we'll unveil a new PVE scenario and adjustments to resource allocation. Yeah, that last part, resource allocation, is going to be interesting when you're on a permanent server and you don't have to constantly start with no materials or have to spend transfer points for them. All right. New PVE scenario, Endless Dream. Banish the nightmares and guard the dawn. This year, we will introduce a new scenario, Endless Dream. In an ever-shifting dreamscape, you must hunt down the original entity behind the nightmares and awaken the world from its terrible slumber. Scenario features: fully accessible map. Explore every region from Broken Delta to Amber Strand right from the start. Wow, this is going to be a huge scenario, like the whole map. Whoa. Dynamic environmental changes. The Dreamscape's challenges will constantly evolve in response to your actions. Greater freedom. Use construction mode outside your territory. And creatively utilize facilities to your advantage. Interesting. Flexible pace. Explorable regions will no longer be restricted by seasonal phase. Nice. And seasonal phases will be advanced based on players' progress in hunting the original entity. Interesting. Okay. Salvation or destruction. The fate of the world hinges on the collective efforts of all players. That's pretty cool. I mean, I like the idea of a scenario is more based on what people in the scenario are doing as opposed to time gating. So I like that. Scenario concept. When the sleeper manifests, its influence will warp the surrounding wilderness into a dreamscape full of unpredictable changes. You might find yourself engulfed in darkness or afflicted with strange vulnerabilities, becoming unusually weak, flammable, or even explosive. The dreamscape will also transform deviants and resources within the world, changing how players interact with or battle against them. We hope that these changes will bring a variety of combinatory changes to exploration and combat, ensuring that every area and play session offers new and unexpected experiences. Let us know your thoughts and ideas on the scenario concept. I mean, it's purely conceptual based on what they're saying. It sounds like it could be really great. On the other hand, if things are too unpredictable and too changing, I feel like that might throw people off, just because it's like, well, how do I prepare for something when everything is always different? It doesn't sound like it's going to be quite that extreme, but I'm excited for it, and we'll have to see more details. All right, part 3, cross-character asset sharing. Planned launch March 27th. Oncehuman is an open-world survival and crafting game designed. Currently, however, assets are tied to character level, creating a significant barrier for players who want to create a new character to try scenarios or play with friends. To address this, we plan to introduce cross-character asset sharing on March 27th. This feature will allow more resources to be shared and transferred across all characters on the same account, giving you greater freedom to play the way you want. All right, let's see what they mean. Scope and rules. Which assets will be shared? How will this sharing work? The following assets will be shared across all characters on the same account: Stellar Stairway, Starchrom, and Blueprints. Stellar Stairway Progress, Starchrom, Blueprints, Blueprint Fragments, Blueprint Collection level will be shared at the account level. After the March 27th update, log in with any character on your account to activate cross-character sharing. After activation, all characters on your account will share the Stellar Stairway Progress, Starchrom, and Blueprint data of the character with the highest Blueprint Collection level. Mods. All mods from every character on your account will be shared across all characters. Weapon accessories. All weapon accessories from every character on your account will be shared across all characters. Cosmetics. The vast majority of cosmetics, including fashion items, actions, emotes, keywords, and name cards, will be shared across all characters on your account. Any exceptions will be clearly labeled. Certain formulas. Some formulas will be shared across all characters on your account. These formulas will be labeled in the shared UI. Certain tokens. The following tokens will be shared across all characters on your account: Emblem Unlock items, weapon renaming cards, phantom cubes. Mods, weapon accessories, cosmetics, and certain formulas and tokens owned by every character on your account will be aggregated and shared across all characters. Due to the amount of data involved here, after the March 27th update, you will need to manually log in with each character to complete data aggregation for that character. Characters that have not undergone data aggregation will be marked on the login screen. Duplicate weapon accessories, cosmetics, and formulas will be automatically disassembled during the merging process. All right, so this is pretty interesting. Now, I'm hoping they're going to mention it at some point, but another thing that comes into play is, especially with permanent servers and with this cross-character sharing, like, is there going to be the same sort of transfer points required, or is it just going to be free? It doesn't sound like they've mentioned either option yet. Items and equipment. An account depot into which you can deposit items and equipment will be added to Eternaland. Items stored in the account depot are converted into space-time backpack items that can be withdrawn from your space-time backpack. You can then spend resource points to transfer them to your, there it is. Okay. You can deposit items from your scenario backpack into the account depot without waiting for the season settlement. Deposited items will be immediately converted into space-time backpack items. Items not sent to the space-time backpack during season settlement temporarily cannot be transferred between characters. We plan to optimize this feature in the future to allow more items to be transferred between characters. So far, I'm still not seeing the thing about the points, though. Is it still going to be 20,000 per character per, like if it's a permanent server, do I only have 20,000 for the entirety of that server until my character transfer servers? Or are they going to give like extra transfer points per month? Because I mean, the thing about permanent servers is a lot of the things that are currently in place right now are based on the assumption that you are redoing your character every month. So that'll be interesting. All right, so number 2, why can't Stellar Stairway Progress, Starchrom, and Blueprint data be aggregated? Why is it only the data of the character with the highest Blueprint collection level shared? Starchrom and Blueprint, say that 10 times fast, I dare you, Blueprint acquisition are tied to character playtime. Aggregating these resources would create a significant and insurmountable gap between players who focus on one character and those who play multiple characters. Using the data of the character with the highest Blueprint collection level ensures that all other characters on your account will enjoy an increase in Blueprint collection level, allowing you to create and use new characters more freely. If you have invested in multiple characters, we will offer Starchrom compensation based on the aggregate Blueprint collection levels of your other characters. For example, assume you have 3 characters on your account, A, B, and C, whose blueprint collection levels are level 100, 40, and 20 respectively. After the March 27th update, the Stellar Stairway progress, Starchrom, and blueprint data of A will be shared across all characters. The blueprint collection levels of your remaining characters B and C will be aggregated. In this case, level 40 plus level 20 equals level 60. You will be compensated based on the aggregate collection level as per the table below. The maximum compensation is 40,000 Starchrom. In this example, B and C's aggregate blueprint collection level of 60 means you will receive 8,000 Starchrom in compensation. And here's a little table here showing exactly how much you get for that. Now, something that might be interesting and worth trying if you have the time is when you start a new character currently, there's a certain amount of Starchrom that you can use because of the scenario phases. And especially if you've had a character that maybe you haven't been playing a lot, but it's been on a server and that server has been going through the phases. And so as that happens, you get that free asterism, and then you can unlock stairway points to get free Starchrom. It'd be interesting to see if you start creating characters now, sort of almost just kind of game a little bit of passive asterism, then you can unlock stuff from your blueprints. Is that going to essentially, without having to do much work, I mean, maybe if you play a little bit too, obviously that's going to impact things, but just by sitting in a scenario that's accumulating that scenario progress that gives you that asterism, I mean, you might end up getting some free Starchrom on your main character just for basically doing nothing but creating a new character, sitting there and logging in occasionally, going into the wish machine, making a wish, etc. So, interesting. Compensation will be sent via system mail across the character sharing is activated. After the March 27th update, all players will receive a set amount of Starchrom and blueprint conversion attempts. Ooh, thank you for the conversion attempts. Always happy to get more blueprint conversion attempts. To allow you to adjust your blueprints as needed. The changes we are making are not designed to invalidate your previous efforts, but to reduce grind and allow you to enjoy the game's content more flexibly. Resource allocation and deviation optimizations. Deviation, acquisition, and interaction optimizations. Planned launch March 13th. The acquisition methods for morphed deviations will be made more focused and streamlined. The probability of obtaining these deviations will not change. Before the update, we will announce the effective deviations and their acquisition methods, and we will continue to make adjustments based on your feedback. We'll have to wait to hear more about this. I don't understand what they're saying. We will also improve the rules for spawning deviations when opening loot or oracle crates. Deviations belonging to the player will be prioritized for display, and there will be a cap on the total number of visible deviations. Additionally, the duration of deviation spheres will be shortened. This is to prevent confusion when trying to capture deviations. Resource allocation optimizations. Planned launch March 27th. High-risk zones will yield rarer resources, including advanced resources and some new rare resources. This change is designed to enhance the risk-reward experience of exploration. The yield rate of advanced resources will also be adjusted, as some of the yield has been reallocated to high-risk zones. Some mimetic specialization effect values and game mode rewards will also be changed. New special ammo and tactical items will also be added. These items require rare resources to craft and introduce new combat effects and strategic options to scenarios. Okay, so they're giving us more reasons to have this end game in the permanent scenarios, and I'm all for it. Controllers and all controller-related features will be removed. Affected rewards will now yield mods directly, but some resource rewards have been reallocated to high-risk zones. That's an interesting one. So it sounds like, you don't need the controllers. You will just get those mods, but you may have to do more farming in the high-risk zones to get better rewards. What does that mean for things like your boss, when you kill a boss in the dungeon and or the great ones, are you just going to automatically get the extra rewards that you would get from a controller, which would be great. Interesting. More details on these optimizations will be unveiled in the update announcement. Stay tuned. Construction Optimization System. Plan launch March 27th. Intuitive Power Management. In response to player feedback about the complexity of connecting generators and the ambiguity of power consumption calculations, we have overhauled the electricity system to make power management more intuitive. Optimizations. Automatic power connections. Generators in your territory will automatically connect and form an electrical network by default. Yes. Eliminating the need to manually lay cables. Visualized power consumption data. In construction mode, you can view the total and current power consumption in real time. You can also monitor the power usage distribution in the generator screen. I'm going to be interested, though, how this works with, like, people have those switches because they might have, 100 power use in their base, but at any given time they can only use 50 of it, so they're flipping switches when they want, like, their acid farm to run or when they want something else to run. So it's going to be interesting how that works when everything is automatically connected. So how are we going to be able to determine, like, which ones power using facilities we're turning off versus which ones we're turning on? Interesting. Water and production management optimizations. To address players' feedback regarding inefficient water management, we have revamped how you interact with the water system. Optimizations. Smart output management. The water pump and rainwater collection system will allow you to select their outputs. Interesting. Available outputs are dependent on the resources of the current region. Oh, that's great. Okay. Yeah, I'm for that. That's nice. Anything that allows me to select things, I'm good. The water filter and brewing barrel will also allow you to choose their outputs, making it easier. Yeah, sometimes the brewing barrel especially is like, what? Making it easier for you to manage your territory's production line. Automated liquid transport. Impure acid and barreled crude oil can be transported using water pipes. Yay. Some redundant connections will also be removed. Offline output. Offline output will be automatically calculated based on your offline time, resolving the issue of production stagnation while offline. Great, so we don't have to keep our game on and in the background if we want these things that are supposed to be producing to actually produce. This is great. I'm liking all of this stuff. And especially as we're getting into the mobile release, like, I don't know about you guys, but I've personally had to do away with a lot of my automatic farm stuff because I have so little time to play that I found myself managing my automated farm so much more than I was actually, like, going out and farming bosses or stuff like that. So they're making these things better. You're going to get on the mobile when the mobile is out, and you're going to be able to do all of that automatic farming stuff on your mobile, giving you more free time to play. And yeah, so many things that are going to make just farming systems, the automated systems, so much better. I'm for it. Number 3, territory relocation and construction optimizations. In response to your feedback regarding terrain glitches during relocation and the limited variety of building parts, we have focused on improving freedom and mistake tolerance during construction. Optimizations. Smart terrain adaptation. The experience of relocating your territory to locations with significant terrain variations will be improved. Yeah, that's been a problem. Trees and rocks within the target location will also be automatically cleared, removing the need for tedious manual clearance. More creative construction options. New building parts, including mirrored stairs and half-height fences, will be added. You will also be able to directly place carpets below furniture instead of having to move the furniture first. Control optimizations. The green target preview in construction mode will be optimized to make it easier to see the target's texture and orientation. Number 4, future direction. A construction system with more freedom. Our next plan is to optimize and revamp various aspects of the territory. Improvements are coming to load systems, snapping rules, building permissions, house blueprint sharing, and more. Our aim is to deliver unique construction and survival experiences for each scenario, and to provide more freedom and fun in building your territory. We know that there remains much room for improvement. However, we have faith that your suggestions and criticisms will help us improve the game. Your expectations and feedback are the cornerstone of this world. Please don't hold back and let us know your honest thoughts. Let's work together to make Oncehuman as great as possible. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please check out my Burn vs. Surge build tournament video on screen now.